Hello, welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C, all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Super excited about the guest that we have on today. Just a few updates. This is brought to you by the Connected Leaders Academy, as well as BALM Global, and our new sponsors, the Author Millionaire Academy, Root Financial Services, and Breathe Financial Planning. So super excited for all these sponsors to be on and joining our mission on building leaders globally. And that's what we do here. We bring some amazing people from our community. We highlight them, spotlight what they're doing in their communities, as well as adding value and just some great tips, gems, and resources for us to just take action in any area of our lives based on the information that is received, interpreted, and all that good jazz. So thank you so much again for continuing to support and listen to our podcast. We have a very special guest today. Her name is Lisa Charles. I met her through the Connected Leaders Academy. We've just been talking for a couple weeks, but the synergy has been absolutely amazing. She is a federal prosecutor turned singer, actress, wellness expert, certified health coach, consultant, and professional speaker. She served as the fitness wellness research coordinator for the Rutgers University Aging Brain Health Alliance and in the CEO of Embrace Your Fitness LLC and the author of Yes, Commit, Do, and Live. She successfully directed her struggle with temporary vocal loss into personal growth by shedding 77 pounds without dieting. This ignited her zeal for fitness, cemented her understanding of the brain-body connection, and prompted her to create a life based on passion. Today, as a brain, body, and belief alignment specialist, Lisa empowers individuals to let go of their limiting beliefs, embracing who they truly are, and break through the age-limiting barriers. By allowing them to experience wellness from her top down, inside and out approach, in addition to her consulting business. Lisa runs an international women's mastermind organization called Reinventing the Woman Tribe, and she hosts transformational global retreats to heal, ignite the brain, body, and connection. It is a wellness revolution. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on this amazing lady, Lisa.
Woohoo!
How are you?
I'm so happy to be here, Nikki, and I really thank you for having me as a guest. I'm going to concur. We just had a little magic happen when we briefly had a couple of conversations, and you know what you know, what you know. And so I'm happy to be here and really put our minds together on how we can bring some global change.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Thank you so much. And it's an honor to definitely have you here and share your wisdom and how you've transformed your life in many different levels and many different times, and really to showcase what you're doing today in the world, because that's what we're all looking, how we can each do our part in changing the world in some way, shape, or form, because it's needed. So I just want to thank you for being here. Share with our audience who Lisa is, where do you come from, what was that upbringing you had, and how did you get to where you are? For how did you get to a federal prosecutor? And then we'll go into everything else after that.
Oh, I always like to say, so sometimes I love to talk to little Lisa because little Lisa grew up in Rockville, Maryland. I'm one of five children. I was always I just always had this view of life that I wanted to meet as many people as I could. That was something that was just in my mind when I was young. But little Lisa had a couple of bumps along the way and no different than anybody else. But I'm going to say very transformational to me. Um, I maybe if I saw her face to face now, I might have to thank her in some ways. But I had a really um, troubled fourth grade with this bully that just really rocked my world a bit. It really had me think about relationships with others, understanding my own body. I was overweight at the time and just tease like nobody's business about it. And I think it just changed a lot of how I thought about people. Um, I just didn't want other people to experience what I was experiencing. And that was just to see that stayed with me. At the same time, I used to watch these old black and white reruns of Perry Mason. And I thought, God, this guy is amazing. And for those in your audience that don't know Perry Mason, I'm going to invite you to Google him and look at him. But he was this most incredible lawyer. Of course, all his clients were always innocent. But what I loved was he was in court and he would just really have the drama. And I thought, I could do that. Like, if I could do that, he was helping people, but at the same time, he was doing it in such style and pizzazz, and it sort of danced in different sides of my personality. And I start there because I stayed with Perry Mason all the way through like high school, college. I wanted to be the lawyer. I wanted to be that kind of, in some ways people say, well, that's not real how the law practice is. But for me, I made it. That's how the law practice was. That was the way I approached it. And it was easy enough for me just to stay very focused on becoming an attorney. Although I did a lot of acting and singing all the way through Little Lisa, all the way through college. Practical brain, Lisa said, finish out this initial passion of yours. And I went into the practice of law and I went into it, everything that people would think. Like, I wanted to be a prosecutor, had a white hat on, wanted to help as many people as possible. And I landed in Brooklyn DA's office with rape cases and child abuse cases and domestic violence, and stayed there for a few years, and then ended up going into the U.S. Attorney's Office with organized crime cases and police brutality and corruption cases. And so live that piece of my dream, live that piece of Little Lisa's thought process for herself. And I can tell you, Nikki, it's we do these things of living pieces of our life from before, but I got a chance to help people to stand up to their bullies.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of sad to have to go through something and use that as your fuel to do better, right? But then you're thinking like, that had to happen to me, unfortunately, in order for us to learn the lessons or to even get that passion, right? It's weird sometimes how it's just not naturally given to us. Sometimes we have to go through some stuff. So I just want to say thank you for, really tapping into that and really giving people a voice or another platform where they can stand up for themselves, because sometimes people need that little push. And if we didn't have someone like you, you wouldn't have helped as many people as you had. So thank you. That's awesome. And I love that you tell Little Lisa, right? And you kind of talk to her sometimes and kind of just that's really cool when you can kind of put your story into a story and really just share what you had to go through. And Perry Mason, I've heard of him many times. I've seen, I haven't seen like a full episode, but just like my parents' generation would tell me about, what they loved about Perry Mason. But sometimes we have these idols that kind of take us down a path, but you always had a passion for singing and acting and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit more about that world and how you were able to kind of blend them together and, balance them together, actually. Share about that.
So funny. I just had a conversation with my dad today. He's 93. And he says, Lisa, I really would like to even understand further. How did you blend? Like, why? How did you go from law to singing? But for me, it was natural. I have been performing since I was 9 years old. I used to do dramatic poetry reading, and I traveled to do it. I don't know if you know Nikki Giovanni, but I had a chance to do one of her poems for her at an event in college. So all the way through this, to like many of us, we have different aspects of our lives that we're living and we love. And I was always performing. So it's interesting because I ended up writing about this in my book because I think sometimes people can have multiple loves and it gets confusing. Like, where do I go and how does the loves fit into my passion? And so for me, I was always performing, even while I was practicing law. I was taking music classes, I was doing acting on the side, and I had an amazing degree of closeness with some of the agents, especially when I was in the US Attorney's Office and some of the FBI agents. And I remember on one occasion, one of the agents said to me, "When are you going to do what you do on the side in the front of your life as opposed to as a side chick?" And that's what he said. Okay, so probably that's not great now. And I was trying, but let me say it how he said it. You were treating it like a side chick. And when are you going to do it is like it's your main squeeze. And it's funny when someone else says something and it just started a cascade in my own mind, my own heart, my own questioning of what it is that I truly want, what express best my passion and my purpose. And the road to that is a beautiful road if you care to think of it that way. It can take you in different avenues, but it's okay because at the end of the day, if you take the time to even ask the question, which I did, and the big question for me I asked was, who am I? That was a question I had never gifted myself to ask. But it's funny, Nikki, it kind of came about in the most ordinary way, but it was extraordinary for me. I remember when I first gave myself the liberty to ask. So agent had said something to me. I'm at this event that I gone to, I say a million, but it wasn't a million, like a lot of those network events, walking around and you're shaking everyone's hand and you have your title. And at the time it was Lisa Russell Charles, Assistant United States Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Civil Rights Division. And it's like this mouthful, but you say it so often. And on this particular occasion, it was almost as if the world sort of froze for me. And I'm listening to people introducing themselves, and I'm listening to me say who I am. And at that moment, I was like, well, that is not fully who I am. And it's probably not who any of these people are. So I really don't know who the people are, and they don't know me. And for that day, it bothered me. And it just made me say, well, who are you? And I was still practicing law, but I wrote my first workshop. And the workshop was based on my own delving into me, which was, who are you? And the true essence of your internal core. And how do you find that out? And I started really digging down just with the base question. If everything was gone, the people, the things, anything that around me, what would be left? That's just me. And when I asked that, and it just, maybe it gave me shivers at the time because it wasn't an easy question to answer.
Sure.
But when I drilled down, I said, well, I'm left with my core values. I'm left with the imprint of loves that were put in me, passions. And beyond that, the other things are a little outside of the core, but skills and natural talents and things. And then you work your way out. And just going through that process was the chance for me to say, I love performing. And I do trials, but if you ever came to my trials were like, you could see it on TV. Like you could have bought a TV camera because I would map out everything I was going to do and how I was going to walk, what I wore, and everything. I made my drama in the courtroom, and I gave myself the liberty to live another piece of my loves and do it. And once I made the decision in my heart and in my spirit, the outside decision was so much easier than maybe someone from the outside looking at me. But I said, I'm leaving and I really want to pursue singing and acting full time. And that's what I would say to my dad's, I can still see his face. My It's like imprinted in my face, like incredulous what
Yeah.
I was saying, because he had a dream and other people had a dream for what my life would be.
Right.
But I got to reclaim the dream for myself of what my life would be. And I didn't have any regrets, and I went forward. I'm not even going to say walking forward. I just bounded forward because I was excited to see what this would bring. And I brought along all what everyone brings when you try something new, all your fears and your negative thought, anything that was still needing to be worked on. I brought that all with me too. Um, but I was determined just to live and experience. And this was a key part of, I know, as a child, that whole idea of I just want to be a lot of different things. Like, I just want to meet a lot of people. I just would say that all the time, over and over. And, acting and singing was phenomenal, Nikki. I'm going to tell you, I'm still doing it. It was just a phenomenal way to kind of take what I was doing as a prosecutor in a different way.
Yeah.
You're healing people in a different way. You're speaking to people in a different way. Music is a wonderful way of bringing community, and I threw my heart and spirit and mind and body into it 100%. Um, and it was uh, like 4 years in, and have my one woman show. I did a lot of things in the city. I did a lot of things in Manhattan on Jazz Row, if you ever know 46th Street. But I sang a lot. I sang at the Cotton Club, sang at the Carnegie Hall. I really was all in, which is how I believe best way to live life. Um,
Absolutely.
and I had a couple of things that came up and knocked me off my routine and
Yeah.
knocked me off of my path. Um, but I'm here, and I
Yeah.
think for me that's probably the best part of life, is that we do sometimes have a passion, have love, and sometimes something will come along that might steer us in a different way. Either it's a choice we made or the choice was made for us.
Yeah.
And key is to have enough grounding in who you are to know how to move forward, which
That
is
is so true.
right.
That's so true. That story is powerful because usually when we say we want to be lawyers when we grow up and we actually pass the bar and we get there, we kind of want to stay there, right? I do know another one who is a retired attorney. I think that's what we call him, Josh Aronovich. He is just absolutely amazing, and he teaches us. Teens and 20 somethings with like personal growth and education and stuff like that. So he's absolutely amazing. So I think that you guys might want to connect and kind of see how you guys can support each other. But he's absolutely amazing. And that kind of what reminded me that it's okay to switch it up when it needs to be switched up. Things can We want things to last a lifetime, but if we really think about it, if we're not reassessing our situation, our passion, our core, and we're not happy or have the joy in doing what we're doing, it's okay to create a new path for yourself. And I'm glad that you did. That's actually how passionate I was just hearing your story, is because I also work in the healthcare industry in corporate America. Love what I did. Thought they were going to have to drag me out of this company because I just absorbed so much and really built who I was in this space. But when I seen that I was no longer living in my passion or no longer able to see a distant future with just what I was doing, I said, okay, no, I got to break this glass ceiling as well. And I pivoted. And it has been the best decision. Sometimes when you actually make a choice, you 9 times out of 10, you're not regretting it, whether it goes good or bad. Would you agree
I
at that sense?
love
Because, yeah,
that's so powerful, Nikki, because we do have choices. Like, we have choices all the time. We don't think sometimes that it's a choice, but when you step into it, I always say it's like you're starting to live your life as opposed to life living you, because
yeah,
life will still go. All the things will still go. Next Thursday will come no matter what. But if it's just, are you going to be an active participant in the things that are going around you. And when you take the choice, I love what you said, because whether it's quote unquote, and I say quote unquote, a good
Mhm.
choice or a bad choice, or it was a failure, all of it is a step in learning, growing. You can pull something from it. I think about, for me in singing, I started developing a little vocal challenge, and it just derailed me instantly from what I thought my new life was. And I didn't want to just look back, but it was that moment that finally I said, okay, I don't know what this is going to be, but I'm going to take care of my health. I've been carrying around this extra weight for years. I'm a yo-yoer, up and down, up and down. I've been on all these ridiculous diets. I'm a lifetime member of diets, which make no sense. Like a lifetime member of 3 diets. That just meant that they didn't work, right? And it gave me the liberty at that time to say, well, you know what? I'm just going to focus on one thing. I just want to be healthy, and I'm going to see how can I lose weight this time around without being on a diet. That's the only thing I said. I don't want to be on a diet. I'm going to throw out a lot of this stuff I have at home, and people out there that are hearing this, they know what I'm talking about. I had all sorts of stuff, okay, accumulated over the years that were supposed to be the miracle. And I threw away a lot of stuff, and I just got back to really understanding my body. And it was, I've spent about 7 months just understanding me. And for me to let this process introduce to me a whole new career, and now is almost 17 years ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this wellness field. I love it. Like, I went all in. So I said, well, I have to learn how to be a group fitness trainer, because I love Zumba and I loved weight training. And then I was like, well, I want to be a personal trainer, because people were always asking me, how do you do? So I went back to get my training on that. And health coaching, this one thing led to another, because it was all in my passion. That's the only reason. If it wasn't in my passion, these things wouldn't have kept presenting themselves to me. And I love something else you said. You can have things presented to you, but if you don't do the work for it, then it's not going to, a lot of good ideas come in your mind, but if you're not willing to step in and actually do something about it, it'll just be a good idea.
Yeah.
Um, but that just led this whole career, which led to Embrace Your Fitness, my business, and it was the bridge of all my careers, because performance and being able to interview, being able to understand people, being able to lift people to another level, all of those things are consistent with everything I've ever done. And now I was able just to do it to a different audience in a different manner, but it draws on everything that I've loved since I was a child. So, for me, the careers and the titles may sound different, but it's the same seed that's grown through each one. And it just helped me to be even more present and focused on this new horizon of what I call wellness reimagined, because I think I know I never live in boxes, and when I find a box that's still around, I try to break it down right away. So
Mhm.
to really focus on helping people not to find boxes and not to place themselves either the age box or the weight box, or even thinking that your life is these separate little components, and like, I'll just work on this and I'll get around to my relationships later. That it's
Mm.
one thing is wellness. It's all
Mm.
beautiful ball that is your
Yes.
life, and to dance in all of it, and to recognize that you don't have to think in those kind of silos is, to
Yeah.
me, invigorating. Like, I can't get enough of it. I get excited when I see people break their boxes and see that life doesn't have to be a drudgery. Doesn't None of the things that we talk about has to be hard. And if you find it's really hard, and I just, and you're putting it in that negative space of your brain, you're probably not in the right place. At least your mindset is not in the right place. So I don't think I could be 129. I will never grow tired of seeing people that have been in a box and suddenly they're talking and I can see the little light bulb goes off and they're now getting ready to live in freedom, you know.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We're going to get into a lot more of that because I think we want to talk. Well, I want to talk about your book. I want to talk about how these retreats look, as well as how people can get a hold of you and what are you working on now. So I'm super excited for that. But let's hear from some of our sponsors.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Hello, welcome back. Those were our sponsors. Jose Escobar, connect with him for the Connected Leaders Academy. We have Emilio and Daniela Roman, who are some amazing publishers. They published my first authority book, so super love them for their support. That's Author Millionaire Academy. And that was the Empowered to Inspired score that we are going on 2024 across the globe to all 50 states. And if you want more information about that, definitely connect with us at buildingleadershipmindset@gmail.com. Well, we are here with Lisa Charles, and we've been talking about her just transformative life, step by step, from being just a young girl wanting to be an attorney and help people out in the world, actually living out her dream, as well as her singing and acting. And now she totally transformed her life when it came down to really looking at the wellness portions. I definitely want to talk about what came first, the business or the book?
Okay, so the business came first. And you know what? I think also just on the business side, sometimes people are waiting for, I don't know what they're waiting for. They're waiting for all of the things to line up so perfectly. And I'll talk to some people like, well, I haven't started yet. There's like 6 more trainings I want to do before I start. And I say, okay, but do you know where's your passion lying? Like, you got to start. So I started where my initial passion in wellness was, which was teaching. And I created my business, and I know that it's important to have your back office, the legal things together. That's what that law degree was also helpful for. But started my LLC many years ago based on really coming in with the experience I had on losing weight and how that translate into just teaching people how to move. That was the initial thing. I taught a lot of people how to move and move efficiently in the less time. And make it fun. And so those aspects have always stayed with me because I just want to move people away from the drudgery and the hatred of anything called getting in shape, or, we start saying eating, and they're like, oh my God, no, it's going to be bad. Could I change the mindset? So that was the beginnings of my business.
I love that you named it Embrace Your Fitness. And it wasn't those lines that you just shared with us as far as, those 4-letter words like diet. I never use that word as well. Definitely like lifestyle change or better habits or something along those lines, right? That we're just going to work towards. And then the book comes. It's called Yes, Commit, Do, and Live. Is that also the essence of your business, or is that just another mindset, tips, strategies? Like, what is that about, and how can people get a hold of it?
So that is the essence of life, I'm going to say. And it, for me, how I judge how you can make the changes that most people want to be able to move to the job of their life, or the career of their life, or their passion, or their purpose. And they want to say, well, what is my purpose? But they don't want to do the work to figure it out. And so for me, commit, do, live is the essence of the essential steps we take to really discover who we truly are, so that you can do the things that really are igniting your soul and your spirit. And the do is really, how do you do that? How do I breathe? How do I move? How do I fuel my body? How do I do it that's going to really serve this purpose that I'm starting to nurture out of my spirit? And the live side of it is, how do you move past those things that stand in your way, your thoughts and the way you think, and your fears and the way you react. And so it is really kind of a roadmap on really anything that you want when you want the best for yourself, which I think everybody does. And so that is on Amazon, is an Amazon bestseller. It is easy to get from Amazon, of course, anyone that wants. And it's also on Barnes & Noble and all of the other bookstores, but Amazon probably is the easiest way just to find that. And also soon we'll have an audio version that I am working on presently, which I'm very excited about.
Awesome. So then you now have a brain, body, and belief alignment specialist, right? That's your title. Is
Yes.
that what we're calling you? Awesome. So tell us a little bit about that. I know it empowers individuals, but what are some challenges that your clients come to you with that you're like, okay, yes, this program is for you?
So the biggest thing, I think, is people are what I call disembodied. So they are so separated from the things that are most important to them. They don't even have that connection to understand. So a group of people or individuals will come and say, I just don't know. It starts off with, I don't know why I'm in this, and fill in the blank. I don't know what I want in my life. I'm stuck in this, or I'm stuck in my body, or I'm stuck in my head. But they start with the I don't know. And what I do as a brain body belief alignment specialist is put them back into just knowing and understanding themselves, and really how they can do certain activities that are going to ignite a further development and connection internally. And I'll say, for me, such an evolution in this whole thing called wellness allowed me just to get into the brain science. When I worked at Rutgers University, my business was hired to work at Rutgers to really look at the aging brain, and how can we really turn a corner how we look at aging and the things that we can do. And so I married sort of everything I learned in the neurology department with everything I learned in the fitness and the nutrition side of things. And really that marriage says, boy, there's some practical things you can do to change and to ignite this connection. And it's not a one-day thing. It's something that you can set in motion. But, this is the greatest work you can do, because it is going to ignite the greatest side of you. So, things such as people coming to me that have difficulty sleeping and they don't realize how important sleep is. I'm a breathing expert. So I'll bring this dimension of the one thing that you do and you don't even think about it, but it's the one thing that if you don't do it very well, you'll start to think about it because it'll make you sick. And, coming out of COVID and people that have past COVID symptoms, just recognizing this power that you have, this immense power source that you have to heal your body. And so I tie these things together and I bring it in a program that really shows you that commit, do, live, how you can really merge this brain body connection together in a way that's going to heal you and move you forward. And Nikki, it's something I love. Had really, I always say, just such a blessing to speak on internationally, the power of the brain to heal the body and how you can do it through breath and how you can do it through sleep and how you can match that up with all the other aspects of just overall health and wellness. But I call those two the little Cinderella of health and wellness because it's not what most people talk about or really hold up as something you're going to work on. And if I can change the mindset, I really can, I believe very wholeheartedly, just change the trajectory of how we deal with health and wellness as a global community. So that is a lot, but that is really everything that makes your life happier and healthier.
Absolutely. And those are two simple things that we were gifted with to be able, that doesn't cost us a thing. It's probably the like heartbeat and like the, well, breathing is breathing, right? But it's just the essence of living, and we take it for granted and we don't maximize on it. So the fact that people are really, or that you are really identifying that and making sure that your clients and those around you are in the know about how important just two simple little things. Imagine everything else you have available for them. I just see this as just amazing because I'm just like listening to you here and I'm like, wow, we don't have to pay for it. It's ours. Why are we not? And that's not my specialty, but I do my breathing. I didn't know that was like a thing. A lot of people ask me like, how are you so calm in certain situations? I'm like, well, I definitely am not going to complain about life because I woke up this morning and I'm able to, do what I love to do, what God put me here to do. And it's not that I don't go through stuff, because trust me, I go through some stuff. We all do. We're human. We have to go through the day-to-days. That's just a part of life, but that's the world or the universe telling us, how are we going to react to it? How are we going to attack the day where we are in the power of our day to win the day without letting those distractions kind of take us off course? That's the challenge. We just have these challenges every day. And I love what you're doing and how you're doing it. How can people get a hold of you, Lisa?
Okay, so there's a few things. One, I love for people to check out my website and go on. So it's yescoachlisa.com. And in that, you will see retreats that I do. We did an amazing retreat in the Dominican Republic. We're going back there. I've just been tasked doing a retreat down here in Florida. I'm in Sarasota, so I'm really putting that together. But we have one coming up in Tulum, Mexico in November 9th through the 13th. My partner, Christy Conti, who is a chronic illness specialist, we combine our efforts and really just transform lives. That plus my membership for women, it's been growing and it's growing every week and it's international. And it is just one of those things to support people on this, what I call Wellness Reimagined, every aspect of your life and wellness, moving it forward. And that includes your job and your career and making sure that you are one with and at peace with the things that you are doing and the purpose that you are trying to live within. So those two things, all of them will be seen on my website. I know you're going to put my calendar link and I just say, hey, hang out with me, learn more. I love to learn more about you and see how I can serve your audience as well. that's at the core of my heart. I would love to meet as many people that would love to meet me.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I am always open for a conversation because you know what I have found in less than a year and over 2,000 plus people that I have connected with. I think it's getting close to like 2,500 in just a year. Literally just having either on my podcast or having conversations like this on either a Zoom or something, or even in person, and really like getting to know people's hearts have been absolutely amazing. Like, obviously, you can kind of, you know, what do you call it, sift out those that are really not in that servant leadership role and they're really, just have one agenda. I have not actually encountered that very much. I think out of 2,500 will be like 2 or 3, which is really crazy. But if you really go in with a heart of serving and really wanting to share who you are and really wanting to listen who that other person is and how you can serve them, it has been absolutely just a blessing to have a conversation with someone and you feel like instantly. And some people would think that we are nuts or that I am nuts, because I'm going to just speak on myself, that there are many great people out there, and one conversation can feel like you know someone for a lifetime.
Oh my
If
God.
that connection is there, right? And I have been able to have that over and over and again. And I think that definitely happened with us, Lisa, when we spoke. I was like, yes, we got to get you on the podcast, and hopefully we can do something for our She Leads retreat for ladies of leadership. So we'll continue our conversation and our connection. I am just in awe of what you do and support you 100%. I just can't wait to know more about your women's community and all that good jazz. But they can contact you. So they have the information, an email, Facebook.
Yeah, so Facebook, I'm Lisa Charles, and I'm also Embrace Your Fitness. And then Instagram, I'm Lisa Embrace Fitness. So at Lisa Embrace Fitness, so big Instagram community as well. I do a lot of lives on there. And in my email is lisa@yescoachlisa.com. So any and all of those ways are great ways to just, I concur with Nikki, become part of my family. I find anyone I meet and when I make the connection, we're connected for life. And that's, to me, one of the greatest gifts that we can give back to community is really building our community.
Absolutely. Building those long, authentic relationships. I usually tell everyone we're just attached at the hip now. That's kind of
That's
how I
it.
do. That's how I grow. Like, I want to make sure that, we can, just share ideas, just share life. That's what life is about, and we shouldn't do it alone. So I just want to thank you. I am going to give you the floor just to kind of give your last thoughts about anything you want to share with our audience if they are in a space of getting, of being stuck in any area, whether it is awe or any wellness portions of their life. How can you just leave them with a few tips?
Oh, I would love to. So I'm getting ready to speak at a conference. And one of the things that I'm going to be speaking about is the 3 compelling words. And I want you to hold on to these words. These words are ones that really will move every moment, every conversation, every relationship, everything that you do in your life. If you allow these words to really resonate, and they are love, freedom, and purpose. And each of them have a science background to them. Each of them have a physical aspect to them. Each of them have a spiritual aspect of them. But they allow you to know that when you live in love, and that means you love of yourself and love towards others through kindness, goodness, and gentleness, when you really take the time to look at the things that you may be imprisoning yourself on and open up your opportunities for freedom, you will find that you will be on a pathway to understanding your purpose. And if I could give you one little exercise that I think is in the midst of finding some of your freedom, it's something that I developed and I do with clients, which I call the forgiving breath. Forgiveness is one of the techniques, the things that some people don't really realize can be one of the greatest prison bars that you can put around yourself. It is like you're tethering yourself to the largest anchor, and it can pull you down at a moment's notice. And so forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of others, and really it's simple as this. You take a really cleansing inhale in your nose and exhale out, and you say the words, I forgive. I forgive myself. Be very specific on what you're forgiving. If you don't feel the forgiveness instantly, that's okay, because this is something that's going to be a work in progress. But what you're doing is you're aligning your spirit, your mind, your body to this movement of allowing forgiveness to take place. And if I could give that greatest gift to you, I will tell you it is one of the greatest things you can do to release yourself and to put yourself back on the path you deserve to be on.
Thank you so much for that. I was just like kind of imagining the next time I take that breath and just forgive myself and those that done harm, or that is, I'm not sure what's going on with people these days. I have been in just building mode as far as just letting people authentically know who I am and get to know them, that I haven't really experienced what I used to experience before, when I didn't have anything really going on or weren't paying attention to those different areas of my life. And I was just existing, and I was just, doing the norm. And I was just, doing what I was taught to do, and checking in, and, my decisions had to be filtered through other people before I can say, okay, I'm going to take this vacation, or I'm going to book this doctor's appointment today with no problem, and I'll get it. Like the littlest things that that our life is being dictated on. We're not taking advantage of that. That's ours. That's our power. If you want to control that, then you need to take it back. If you want other people to control it, then you can't complain. So it's just like things like that. And, really finding the way to kind of understand that. So thank you so much. I actually wrote the 3 words down, and I was taking notes, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch this and make sure I get everything else, because you just dropped some absolute gems on this call. And I think this is one that needs to be repeated. Like I got to go back and listen to what Lisa said again, because it was powerful. So I just want to thank you for now joining the BALM family and Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. We'll forever have you on as an alumni. So can't wait till we celebrate 50 more in a couple more months. I'm super excited, Lisa. Thank you so much. Definitely connect with her, even if it's just to say hi, have a conversation, see how you guys can serve each other, and whatever will be, right? And it's just another connection, another great person to have in your corner. And I see that in you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for
humble here. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you actually for just, now I'm part of the family. So my sister, I love that.
Yes, that's what we do here. We are just really tight knit. What we've grown, or what I've been able to witness, because I never knew what community was prior to last year. Again, works in corporate for a long time, didn't really dabble into network marketing, networking things until last year. Always been an entrepreneur since 2015, but try to do it on my own. And it took me a long time. And in 1 year, once I got in this space, it was like game on. So I am just super blessed and excited. And thank you all for listening to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. Have a great day. And as I always say, make it count.